about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So I think a couple days ago, although this has been going on back and forth, does soda water help you lose weight? As many of you guys know, I don't really like soda water. Maybe I should start taking it up. And there have been studies looking at, does it cause you to gain weight? Does it cause you to lose weight? So we have some interesting data that's been released over the last week. Basically, soda water or carbonated water is water that's carbonated, infused with carbon dioxide. And I like my water. I really don't, club soda versus sparkling water are a little different. I'm being told club soda may also have some additives like potassium sulfate and potassium bicarb, whereas sparkling water is naturally carbonated, comes from a spring or well. And so you guys might know more about it. I don't drink the stuff. I drink water, or carbonated tequila. But interestingly, there was a study looking at how sparkling water could affect our body mass. There was a February 2017 study that thought our fizzy drinks or our carbonated water would increase your appetite by stimulating ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone that I can never pronounce, GHRELIN. But the research was done on male rats and only 20 people. Nobody seemed to apparently, according to CNN Health, replicate that study. But there have been more social media videos and TikToks talking about how sparkling water is helping people lose weight. And there's a study that found that carbonated water, or it suggested that it might lower our blood glucose levels. And if carbonated water could lower our blood glucose levels, then we have less sugar in our system. Our body can effectively burn this better. It isn't sticking and clogging arteries and depositing. So a study author, Dr. Akira Takahashi, is a physician in the dialysis center at Tesakai Neurosurgical Hospital in Shizuoka, Japan, said when carbonated water is consumed, CO2 is absorbed into the blood vessels in the stomach. Now, that could maybe allow satiety. It could maybe change our metabolism. But I don't have a study looking at, necessarily how much weight has been lost. In fact, there's a study that was published this week in the journal BMJ Nutrition, Prevention and Health, looked at 2004 research by Takahashi and his team on hemodialysis. And during dialysis, so basically when your kidneys don't function and filter properly, we use dialysis to help do the filtering. Otherwise, you would die because you would have a buildup of toxins. And so during hemodialysis, CO2 enters the blood, just as it does when carbonated water is consumed. And they showed that blood sugar levels decrease. This is from a 2004 study. So they're looking at how if the blood sugar could be, shall we say, properly shunted where it should, then they found that fizzy drinks might be shown to help lead to weight loss. I'm not really convinced, and I would really like to see the study itself. Here's the thing. Whether we think the carbonation helps or not, and to me, it's looking like the studies are back and forth, your body is designed to take in regular water, all right? Now, I'm not saying this is regular water. This is a plastic bottle of water where the plastic could be leaching into it, but our bodies are designed to drink water. We add things to it all the time. And I noticed my husband lost weight because he's like, I don't want to drink soda pop, but I want to have that feeling like it's not water. And so when people tell me they've lost weight drinking soda water, that they might not be wrong in that, because that substituted for something more sugary. Another thing is with alcohol, tonic, I believe, has sugar and calories. So when you order a vodka tonic, you're getting more sugar or calories. But if you order a vodka soda, then fewer calories. So it could be, to me, more of a substitution issue. The problem is if you have reflux and you burp a lot, or you have hiatal hernias or whatever, I don't know if we want the carbonation. And so I'm really reluctant. I know everybody's talking about this going, wait a second. So does it help you lose weight? Does it not? I don't think there's significant weight loss. Again, I need to look at the studies, and I want to look at all of them before I make a judgment call. But if you are a soda pop drinker and you drink diet soda, I believe diet soda causes you to gain weight. Why? Because it stimulates your insulin, and then your insulin is waiting for food. No food is coming down the pike because it's just a very sugary chemical that it's picking up on. So then it shunts all the sugar away from the blood into the cells. But now it's going to suck up everything. So now your metabolism slows. So we need to be very, very careful about sugar going into the cells. Does that make you gain weight or not gain weight? As diabetics, when they don't shunt the sugar into the cells because their insulin, which is the key, either is not there, it's not working properly, they end up losing weight. So to me, the jury's not out yet. But if you are a non-water drinking person and you put frappuccinos in your body and soda pop and diet and you want to switch to something low caloric, yeah, I think, swapping to club soda could then, in theory, help you, because you're taking in fewer calories. But if you drink water and you're like, well, the water's not working, I need to go and get some soda water, I don't know if I'm there yet. And any diet, if you notice, if you look at all the diets, they always say drink plenty of water. In fact, one of the easiest things you could do to lose weight is drink a half a bottle of water before you sit down for your meal. That's why these restaurants serve you water, because they know people want to drink, start to fill up some of their stomach. And it's also then they don't have to get bugged later when they're trying to carry the foods. 1-877-Daliah, don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So now that President Trump is in office, I think he's been there 3 days, and he's already visiting North Carolina, visiting California, the wildfires. He's working. Yeah, I mean, he put the W back in work ethic. He's all over the place, and he's busting his butt. He's really moving. And one of the things he is doing is repealing back the figurative mandate that Biden had in terms of electric vehicles and at least half of all new vehicles sold by, I think, 2030 be electric. And it wasn't a binding, but it was a big, heavy push. California jumped on board, and a lot of people like their electric vehicle. You know, who got it? That, you know, those who are able to have their own chargers. Usually the wealthier people, I notice, are pretty happy because they have their own, you know, they can have their own charger, and it's saving them a lot of money. And, you know, and you know, their fuel car was expensive anyway. You know, so, you know, when somebody's rich and their car is already a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 vehicle, not a big deal changing over to an EV. But if, like my first car, I spent $1,800 for a Chevy Chevette with no air conditioning, and most of my cars are used cars, it's kind of a step up to buy an EV. So, you know, for middle to lower income individuals, the electric vehicle suggested mandate made people a little nervous. Now, EV owners are getting a little nervous because if the Biden incentives and goals to add, you know, hundreds of thousands of charging stations is now rescinded, what happens? For an electric vehicle owner to be as comfortable as a fuel injected car owner, they need to be able to go and charge easily. I mean, I could close my eyes, turn around, and I'm looking at a gas station. So I know where I could gas up. I very easy for me to gas up my car. But if you live in an apartment and you can't, you know, charge your car and you have to find charging stations, it's not very practical. Especially when you have to park your car like I used to have to on Ventura Boulevard, or when I lived in Sherman Oaks, I would have to park it on the street somewhere because there was not enough parking when you lived in LA. So in order for electric vehicle owners to make their electric vehicle work, one, they have to have a sustainable power supply. Two, they have to have money to buy the car. Three, they have to have easy charging. But four, they have to have enough mechanics. Now, if there is this push that Biden did where, all right, guys, this is what the future is going to be, so this is what we're going to do, and we're going to accelerate it and make it happen, many people did jump on board going, well, yeah. You know, if the more people who have electric vehicles, the more mechanics there's going to be. There's the more, the easier it is to charge. Well, what happens when there's a new administration who starts to look at, are these really helping the environment? What's going on with the lithium batteries? There was a huge fire in California from a lithium ion battery plant. They just had to let it burn out. They couldn't extinguish it. And so now we have a president that's kind of challenging the Biden science, going, do we really have to do a mandate? Do we really have to do this big push? You know, and so what do people think? Well, there's a study, it's for the McKinsey Mobility Consumer Pulse Study. And they said that 46% of U.S. electric vehicle owners are highly likely to return to gasoline-powered vehicles. Now, that's one of the stronger numbers I've seen in a while. They say in other countries, there's been also some, I think in Austria, there was even higher dissatisfaction. Yet in Japan, they like it. In Japan, I think there were only 13% who were having regret. Yeah, here we go. They say 46% of American EV owners are considering to return to gasoline vehicles. Australia reported a higher dissatisfaction rate at 49%, whereas EV owners in Japan liked it. Only 13% wanted to switch back. So what's happening? Well, one is the cars are very expensive. Number two is if I buy a gas-powered car, as of today, I could still sell it. I'll sell it at a loss, but I could sell it. There's a Blue Book value. I could pretty much know what I'll get for it. There's value to it. A used electric vehicle has not been established in society as something that's barterable. Now, a dealership might buy it, replace the battery, etc., but we're not there yet where somebody is going to want to buy your used vehicle. You know, I mean, like there's a few people who might buy a used iPhone, but they want to know that their battery is going to work. And the battery is one of the most important parts of that, in addition to all the safety measures, etc. And so what is causing some of the regret? Well, most of my friends who have an electric vehicle, they're wealthy. And so they're charging at home. Never have a problem with charging. They're very, very comfortable with it. But if we're like, well, look, I could get $7,500 off. I could, you made that jump. We're hearing that people are struggling as it pertains to lines, waiting to charge, and it's just not there yet. Now, yeah, if everybody gets on board, we will be there. There will be charging stations everywhere. There will be. But I think people are becoming a little impatient. If the car was cheaper, that's one thing. But the car is more expensive. All right, that's already making it kind of difficult. Number two is now with the fire issues like we've seen with the wildfires, et cetera, in California, people are a little bit more nervous about, can they extinguish a fire that needs to be extinguished? If we're being told that many of these vehicles are unextinguishable or the fire runs fast, there was that gentleman who was, I think, coming off a freeway runway, on-ramp or off-ramp, and then his car made some weird sounds. He got out of it, and it just lit up in flames. And he said, thank God he didn't have a child in the back seat. There really was not going to be enough time to take that child out. So now that's starting to make people think, well, wait a second here. I'd like to have at least a couple seconds. Like, remember Charlie's Angel? She was able to run from the car. And then she had to go, the briefcase, Angel, the briefcase. Now, I know there was a bomb, but I always think that there's a little bit of time you have. You need to get away from any burning vehicle. It could blow at any second. But we're hearing these electric vehicles just a little too quick. But electric vehicle owners are getting a little nervous because they needed the Biden push so that there would be plenty of dealers. There'd be plenty of mechanics. There'd be plenty of auto shops and infrastructure. And so I don't want you to panic if you have an electric vehicle. I'm a little envious. I think they're really cool. I would like to eventually have one, but they're just too expensive right now. I don't have the money, and I kind of love my car. And my car, I'm able to with rewards because I shop at Albertsons, and then I get Chevron rewards. So I'm able to fill up and it's I bought a used Corvette. I'm able to fill that up for about $40-50 a month. And I don't drive a lot, but it gets great gas mileage. I drive every day, but I don't have the commutes like I had on the 405 in LA. But when people want to trust, if the infrastructure is there, they could do it. So it's almost like, either everything has to be ready or not. And those people that took a chance, good for them, especially the people who took a chance day one. For those of you who bought early Teslas, you have free charging for life. You lucked out. But for other individuals, they're like, I don't know if it's worth making this work. And the EV figurative mandate made people nervous because they were like, well, wait a second. What if I don't have the money for electric vehicle? What if I don't think they're safe? I'm worried about the battery. Where do I then gas up? Where do I charge? So I think we all need to calm down, relax. The big thing government needs to do, which Biden did wrong, and I understand Trump, wants to. Everybody wants to reverse what everybody else did. Biden reversed a whole bunch of executive orders. Trump did. I understand that, but we need to slow our roll with something as huge and as interweaved into our daily life, as cars are. We need to just kind of slow our roll. Because there was a lot of panic, and we talked about EV anxiety from people who had one, and from people who thought, oh, crap, that has to be my next car. it shouldn't be like this. Now, Trump reversed the executive order saying it should be consumer choice. And so there shouldn't be mandates. I understand California has this mandate where they want all new cars, I think by 2035, to be zero emission. Listen, I like the idea of zero emission, but if the car is heavy, if you can't douse the car, if the car, can help propagate fires, we need to rethink what exactly its benefits are for the environment. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So let's just put this to rest. No, Elon Musk did not do a Heil Hitler Nazi salute. I think this is ridiculous, and I understand I think every month somebody goes back and forth saying somebody's being a Nazi, somebody's acting like a Nazi. Remember when Obama got into office and they said that he was going to create his own personal police force that would, and they're like, oh yeah, and then the death panels and everybody always tries to. And I get it, what Nazi Germany did to the world, what Hitler and the Nazis did to Jews, to LGBTQ, plus community members, Catholics, everybody. I mean, what the murders, the millions of murders that they did, I understand why everybody wants to make sure that they are on guard and ensure that that doesn't ever resurface, that Nazis don't come back, that you don't have a dictator that could turn around and do things like that. And so what I think is ridiculous, though, is when somebody is extending out their arm, okay? Like, I remember the 90s, we always did, was that Wayne's World, where you would sit there and almost like bow. So when people are putting up their arms, okay, there's abduction, which is to the side, abduction. And then there's forward flexion. The Nazi salute was a forward flexion. If you look at Hitler, because I know a lot of you are like, oh my God, I don't want to be caught at a concert with somebody saying I'm doing the Nazi salute. To do the Nazi salute, it's not accidental. You have to purposefully do it. So with your range of motions with your shoulder, you have forward flexion, which is taking your arms and the tops of your hands, right? The backs of your hands are parallel to the ceiling, right? And your arms are straight out in front of you. And you bring your arms up to the sky. That is forward flexion. You have extension or flexion, we call it, with shoulders. Extension is where you're about to jump off a diving board and you have your arms directly back. Abduction is where you go up the sides. Abduction gets a little tricky when you have some shoulder issues, actually any of these. And it's a side movement, all right? And then adduction is where you go across your midline, like you're trying to touch your opposite hip, your arm with your opposite hip. Sometimes the boobies get in the way, so my adduction, a deduction is sometimes a little diminished. And then you have external rotation, where you can bring your shoulder. This is shoulder range of motion, where you have your arms up and you're rotating your shoulder back, or internal, where you're rotating your shoulder in. The Heil Hitler, I don't even, sorry, my German is weak. My grandmother spoke German. I don't have as much of the proper syntax as she had, but is a forward flexion that is above the heart. It's not like this. It's not like this. I mean, how many rock stars have their arms out like this? There's a meme with Superman, and people are saying, there's all this controversy because Superman was giving us the Nazi salute. And so, look, there's an obvious look to it. And you'll remember I was talking a couple days ago about how Mark Zuckerberg was at the inauguration. And I'm watching the video, and I guess for a split second, his eyes get drawn to Lauren Sanchez's boobies because she was wearing like a bra top at the inauguration. Not appropriate, but, obviously people are noticing that. And that one split second, and he looks away, but that split second gets caught on camera, and now it looks like he's looking for hours. Now that we have all this video surveillance and cameras everywhere, if somebody is reaching up into their truck, somebody's going to capture that saying, see, that's a Nazi salute. So come on, people. Okay, I'm Jewish. I do not feel that Elon Musk was giving the Nazi salute. All right, let's just put that to rest. Now, this conversation is not going to go away. Every president that comes in, there is going to be back and forth on if that president is becoming a dictator. And I'm telling you right now, we are eventually going to have a dictator in this country. It has been postulated, theorized, predicted that democracies fall apart because their constituents don't feel represented. And when the constituents don't feel represented and they feel taken advantage of, they will beg for somebody to fix their problems. Or if they're destitute, or if they're so reliant on the treasury. It's COVID, so nobody work, everybody stay home. We'll just give you unemployment and we'll just be on lockdown indefinitely. Well, now you have a captive audience. And so the more divided this country gets, the more ridiculous some of the laws are, the more severely people feel they're not represented, then they are going to beg for the Messiah. They are going to beg for somebody to come in, and they will relinquish some of their rights and relinquish some of their morals or ethics to have that person just fix the problem. That's how Hitler rose to power. After World War I, and Germany was decimated after World War I, Germans were desperate. And here he's promising prosperity. We're going to be the biggest, baddest country out there. And with desperation, they're like, you know what? Fine, whatever. And then once he got control, you couldn't stop. And so I hear people say this about Trump. They say this about Biden. They said this about Obama. And it's a conversation that's going to keep happening. But I think it's going to get worse because when people don't feel they have a choice and that it's more restrictive, when that pendulum starts to swing, which it's been doing. I mean, look at how, okay, we need a wall. No, now I'm in office, we're going to take down the wall. Well, now that we have millions of illegal immigrants here, now we're going to remove them. And it's just getting more and more severe. And so, I think all we're going to be hearing for the first 100 days of Trump's presidency is how he's a dictator, Every president gets to do executive orders. These executive orders can be very easily reversed by the next president. They could also be codified by Congress, or Congress could make laws that can reject them, We have a checks and balances. We also have a Supreme Court. Now, I understand people feel that right now the Supreme Court is heavily conservative, that Congress, both House and Senate, are Republican, where now Trump has this trifecta. He could do whatever he wants. Yes and no. Okay, he could do executive orders up the yin-yang, and some of these executive orders are really, really really needed, and I haven't even read through all of them. But there's still midterms. There's still another election coming up, and his constituents have to be happy. Trump wants to go down in history as the best president ever. He has probably grown up, hearing about Ronald Reagan and hearing, about, JFK JFK and then Roosevelt, FDR. So he wants to go down as the greatest president. He does not want to go down as the president that killed the Republican Party. He wants to go down as the president that saved the Republican Party, that, saved women, that helped transgender children from not having, permanent or possibly permanent changes to their fertility, etc. So, I do not believe he is going to be the dictator that everybody has been predicting. But our country is on the verge when you have so much divide and people don't feel they're being represented. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Now, don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So don't get mad at me, but I think Trump was 100% right telling federal workers they got to get back into the office and get to work. Sorry, I'm old school. I know how people think around. Also, the fact that the government has been failing the American people. Why have them fail at home? Let's see why they're failing. Come to the office. Let's see why things are so messed up. There are some, I guess, spiteful government workers who want to get back at Trump, and how they're going to do it, which makes absolutely no sense to me, is they're going to boycott the struggling mom and pop businesses near their federal offices. There was a Reddit post, now deleted, titled Boycott, using local businesses around worksite if forced back to office. Several these were federal workers discussing how they were going to try to get back at Trump because now they actually had to go in to work to still receive a paycheck. And listen, I get it. I love being around my pets, being there when the kids come home, whatever. I get that. It's nice. But then don't work for the government. The days of a government job being easy, where you get to sleep on the job, play solitaire, do whatever, are gone under the Trump administration. So if you want to make your 40-hour-a-week paycheck, plus get all your benefits, health insurance, dental, FMLA, maternity, etc., paid leave, you gotta come in and work. You can't just stay home saying you're working. And I understand a lot of people work hard at home. I do. I see patients at 6 a.m. I see patients till 10 at night. I log in. I'm always working. I'm a workaholic. But the average person, no, they want work-life balance. I don't blame them. They want to spend time. They want to, catch up on, Netflix. I get that. But if it's the taxpayer dollars, there has to be transparency and there has to be responsibility. So what some of these federal workers wrote is the original poster said, for those that end up being forced back to their respective offices, they write, I would avoid patronizing the local businesses in these areas. The original poster said, bring your own lunch to avoid using the eateries and grocery stores. Avoid parking in pay parking. Use mass transit if available. And don't buy anything at the shops or stations. Now, why that would even be brought up as a way to get back at, your boss for going into work. I bring this up because, yes, it's stupid. But this is how people think. I grew up learning that if your employer was giving you money to feed your family and to put a roof over your head, you thank the employer. I get it. We all feel overworked and underpaid. But every time I would get a paycheck, I would say thank you. I love working here. I appreciate what you do. Yep. I might need a raise. I'm not going anywhere, but thank you. This helps. And now it's like asking to be asked to go to work is now a bad thing. And requiring a vicious response as to try to screw over innocent people who have businesses near there. They're there for you. If there's a mom and shop eatery next to a federal building, they're paying that rent for you. They're there for you. And you want to screw them over? I guess where this is coming from, according to Daily Mail, is Democratic D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser had supported Trump's order because it would bring more people back to the downtown economy. She had previously tied the decline in retail and office space revenue to the lack of federal workers in their offices. And they're right. Look at what happened during the lockdowns with colleges. All those college pubs and eateries and stores, they were going under because nobody was back on college campus. So, they're seeing the D.C. mayor go, yeah, come back to work. It's really going to help the local economy. That's probably why they're saying, well, you know what? This is what we'll do. We won't help the local economy. We'll get our groceries, I guess, in another city. I don't know. But it just shocks me that we've gone from, glasses half full to glasses half empty. I'm always a glasses half full kind of girl. And I get it's easier and it's more fun to look at the glasses half empty. But if you have a government job, one, you're lucky. Do you guys know how secure government jobs have been? And the benefits you guys get? You are lucky. You really want to throw that away? Or try to make obscene gestures to your boss? Now, Trump, might actually change that stereotype that government jobs are secure and easy and cush. You might be fired if you don't work. And in fact, if I guess all department heads have to, by January 31st, show the executive branch how they're bringing everybody back to work. Whoever doesn't want to go back to work, they leave and replace your workers. Now, for some of you that have medical issues, you do have options. There's FMLA, there's ADA, there's accommodations. But before COVID, employers were able to do those accommodations at work. There were some cases where somebody had to work from home temporarily. But usually, actually they have to. Offices are mandated to have accommodations at work for you. Now, if somebody says, well, no, now with ADA, you have to let them all work at home. I don't know if somebody's going to start to use that or try to go through that legally. But if you need accommodations, your work is supposed to provide those accommodations. And at work. So if your government workers are going to be going back to work grudgingly, throwing their jacket down and pushing their computer back on, all right, I'm here, and just sit there doing nothing, they do need to be fired. You're getting a paycheck, and a decent one from what I understand. If you don't want to go back to work, there are other jobs, starting to be fewer of them, that might pay for you to get to sleep in and work from home. And I'm not saying everybody who works from home sleeps in. And I get it. It's nice to have that flexibility. But I think everybody's picking up on what I've picked up on is a lot of people that work from home are going shopping, going to the gym, getting sun when it's summertime. Come on. So, we either don't pay the rent for all these federal offices or we get people back to work. I don't see Trump selling those offices, or he has things that need to get done. If we have crap in our food, the FDA is going to be overhauled. If we have confusion about science as it pertains to COVID and vaccines, and we don't know if a vaccine has a side effect, then everybody at the CDC is going to be working. If we have issues with our rail system or our FAA, then everybody at the Department of Transportation needs to be on deck. So I think it's good. 1-877-Daliah.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.